Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and welcome this evening to our Wednesday night reading and discussion of Chaitanya Charitamrita with the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society. And we want to apologize. We couldn't start on time because there was a internet delay from Bombay, which was out of our power of control, but thank you for sticking on. I was in touch with Rupa Goswami and he finally got the feed working. So we're on the air now and broadcasting. And I wanted to talk about briefly, we missed our opening japa session, but it'll be back on Saturday. And we'll continue on at the end of the program to also chant a round of japa and read the 10 offenses to chanting the holy name as part of our new programming. Okay, hold on. There's some kind of feedback here. Rupa, could you turn off some people's speakers? Someone's Triloka Vijaya, does he have his speaker on? Yeah. Okay, let's see. There we go. So many folks. I was listening to a lecture, Yashodanandana Prabhu, of Srila Prabhupada today, and he was talking about so many gods in India. Very interesting. And he says it like this: there are so many gods in India. And I thought, gee, so it's not even gurus. They're actually people pretending to be Krishna, pretending to be divine incarnations of the Supreme Lord, and yet they have no power. They don't even know. Prabhupada gave the example of this god going out for a ride and got in a car accident. So how is it that you're a god, but you can't protect yourself? So this is something that's common in India, that people will project themselves or portray themselves not only as gods, but as gurus, fake gurus. So that's even, let's say that's easier because you don't have to show anything. One thing that we know is when you read the Krishna books, when you read them, I'm reading right now the prayers of Lord Brahma and the gopis. I'm in the Rasa dance right now. It's quite a revealing section of the Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada, people have said, well, Prabhupada never gave us the highest truths. Well, that's not true. He has. And when you read the Krishna book, and if you're following the understanding of the Vani incarnation, you realize that Prabhupada is explaining it for the benefit of his students, like us, so that we can grasp the idea or understanding that God is a person, and everything that's in the material world is existing here because it exists in the spiritual world, but it's diametrically opposite here. But the principles are there. You can see it in the activities of the conditioned souls. They're trying to imitate Krishna. And Prabhupada very sophisticatedly explains the rasa of conjugal humor between him and the gopis, Krishna and the gopis. Prabhupada's doing it. For me, it's a very sensitive area. But I must say, after many years of studying the books, I'm getting a better grasp of the understanding how Krishna is demonstrating his personal relationships with all living entities, and especially with his most surrendered devotees. This is the idea, how to surrender, that the gopis, they represent the highest standard of surrender to the Supreme Lord. And it has nothing to do with mundane activity, zero. Because if you understand who Krishna is, which is very hard to do, if you understand he's the Supreme Lord, he's the source of everything, all the universes, all the expansions, all the living entities, everything. And he's present in everyone's heart. So can you understand that? No. It's not. But here, through Prabhupada's explanations in the Bhagavatam, in the Krishna book, you can get deep insight. And don't ever think that he didn't give us the highest truths, like are said by some people. Fake gurus, actually, from India. People that, after Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami's departure, they wanted to become guru. Yeah, kill guru, become guru. And then they minimize. And so many of them have minimized and said exactly that. Oh, Prabhupada never gave the higher truths. That's because they never read the books. The second thing is they're not surrendered to the disciplic succession properly. So how can you understand higher truths if you're a debauchee? You can't. It doesn't work. The highest truth for all of us is that we are the servants of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, His Divine Grace. That is the highest position that you can achieve in this world. Now, Prabhupada asked the question, he answers the question at the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. Why is it the Bhagavad Gita as it is? Because there's no change for the meaning of the Bhagavad Gita. So he said, as it is. What does that mean? As Krishna spoke it. That's the idea. Not change the Bhagavad Gita to suit your own particular purpose. And that's what people do. They interpret, they concoct, they manufacture, and pretend that they're some kind of self-realized avatar. They're not. And this is a hoax. And hoax, people are being cheated, indoctrinated by all kinds of groups, whether it be political or spiritual or transcendental or so-called transcendental. It's not happening. So Prabhupada made this comment, and I've mentioned it multiple times. He made this comment. He said, people say I've created miracles. Well, he goes, miracles are many. But if there's one miracle, I never changed anything from the teachings of my spiritual master. And this is the power of truth. Don't change anything. I was looking at a video, and I'll finish up quickly, of one of our godbrothers speaking about Prabhupada, in the room with Prabhupada, and how Prabhupada used to sit, he explained, and have the books read to him. That was his pastime. And he said, and he was hearing the books, and he goes, I did not write these books. Krishna spoke them and spoke them through him. And he further was listening to the reading, and he goes, who changed these words? I'm paraphrasing. These are not my words. He noticed that people, neophyte devotees, were changing his books right in front of him. And he said, he told them, do not change anything. So this is the greatest mistake that's happened in the mission of Srila Prabhupada in delivering the truth to the world for future generations. Don't change one word. Yes, you're right, Ruchisha, Devi Dasi. One word. I can read your mind. And so this is the problem. And this is what we're preaching about. Don't change anything. And people are doing that. Look, in some groups in India, big groups that claim to be initiating for Prabhupada as making new disciples, they're selling the changed books. And I have direct information of that. They're selling the Leela, so-called unauthorized biography, the Leela Amrita, by one of our godbrothers. And it's all wrong. It's all concocted. So is this group good? No. There's a flaw. Someone was complaining to me today. It was actually Narayan's son. Oh, we should all cooperate. We should all get along. But if we don't have the same common understanding of the principle of Vani incarnation and the principle of not distributing changed books because they're contaminated, and propagating a fantasy cartoon that Krishna is just a cartoon character, or we support Vivekananda in our advertising campaigns, this we're not interested in, everyone. We are not a compromise group, our group of Prabhupada disciples. No. And even though people want to refer to us as Ritviks, I have to educate them every time. I don't know where you got this idea. I'm a Ritvik. That's not who we are. We're Prabhupada disciples, and myself and Yashoda have direct experience of initiating people on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, sending letters to him, getting the responses, going through the fire sacrifices, and these people became Prabhupada disciples with our assistance to him. It's a logistic system, a logical way to do things. Because Prabhupada lives in his words, and these people don't accept that. Miracles are many, but I do not know any miracles. All I know is I've not changed anything, and that is the point that we're making. Last point. So I had a chance to go to Markham ISKCON on Sunday. Oh yeah, it was a long day. It was 17 hours of work that I was happy to do. I don't mind at all. That's our job. It's like Donald Trump. He goes, oh, I'm working very hard, but I like my work. I feel the same way. We like ours because we have a chance to please Prabhupada. So I go there and it's all East Indian people. Okay. And I brought 13 original Bhagavad Gitas. 13. Here's these ones here. Beautiful. They were very hard for me to get. It cost me $500 in shipping to get 2 cases. The books cost $200, and the shipping was $500 by post, so the total bill was $700. I'm going, wow. I paid Madhuha the shipping. I thought, there's no way I cannot pay the bill. So I paid it, and the books are expensive, not expensive, but they're like $30 each, from $10 to $30 to include the shipping. But with great endeavor, I brought them with me. I brought Prabhupada's Kurta, and I let everybody see the beautiful Kurta. And I brought the Gitas, Yashoda, and they bought 3 Gitas. That's it. And I even had their top Sankirtan devotee go around and help me because I was busy giving the speech. I told them, I said, there's 5,000 changes in these yellow Gitas. So here's your chance to get an authentic version of the Bhagavad Gita as it is, unchanged, and only 3 people bought them. And then I went to the altars of these people. I saw beautiful altars, all the nice flower garlands and the prasadam. And at the bottom, there's a picture of Radhanath. I go, Krishna, help us. This is a completely unfortunate situation, but this is the way of the modern world, that people are confused. And we're seeing it every day. And somehow or other, Krishna Katha people think that we're Ritviks or we're Prabhupada Unukas. Okay, these are different terms, but remember, we are Prabhupada disciples, and we are here to protect the legacy of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we're going to move forward with our next section of the program, which is a short lecture by Srila Prabhupada. I hope Rupa Goswami can bring it up. And we want you all to enjoy hearing directly from our spiritual master. And then after, we'll carry on with the program of the Chaitanya Charitamrita with Yashodanandana Prabhu, who does a beautiful job of representing Prabhupada properly without any change. Haribo. Rupa, please put it on. There we go. Perfect.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam.
Chapter 7. Knowledge of the Absolute. There are two things, absolute and the relative. This is relative world. Here we cannot understand one thing without the other. As soon as we speak that here is son, that must be father. As soon as we say here is husband, that must be wife. As soon as we say here is servant, that must be master. As soon as we say here is light, there must be darkness. This is called relative world. One has to be understood by other relative terms. But there is another world which is called absolute world. There, the master and the servant the same. There is no distinction. Although one is master and other is servant, but the position is the same. So, the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita is giving us some hint about the absolute world, absolute knowledge. How that knowledge can be attained, that is being spoken by the Absolute, Supreme Person, Krishna. Krishna is the Absolute Supreme Person. Ishara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadi Radi Govinda Sarvakaram Karma. This is the definition of Krishna given by Lord Brahma in his book known as Brahma Samhita, very authorized book. This book was collected by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from southern India, and he presented it to his devotees when he came back from southern India too. Therefore, we accept this book, Brahma Samhita, as very authoritative. This is our process of knowledge. We receive knowledge from the authority. Everyone receives knowledge from the authority. But general authority and our process of accepting authority is little different. Our process of accepting one authority means he is also accepting his previous authority. One cannot be authority self-made. That is not possible. Then it is imperfect. I have given this example many times that a child learns from his father. The child asks the father, "Father, what is this machine?" And the father says, "My dear child, it is called microphone." So the child receives the knowledge from the father, "This is microphone." So when the child says to somebody else, "This is microphone," it is correct. Although he is child, still, because he has received the knowledge from the authority, his expression is correct. Similarly, if he receives knowledge from the authority, then I may be child, but my expression is correct. This is our process of knowledge. We do not manufacture knowledge. That is the process given in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 4th chapter. Evam parampara praptam imam raja visayogi. This parampara system, imam vivassati yogam bhaktavar ahavam vayam vivasana manaviprahu manu khata vibravit. Evam parampara. So, absolute knowledge can be achieved when we hear from the Absolute. No person in the relative world can inform us about the absolute knowledge. That is not possible. So, here we are understanding about the absolute world, absolute knowledge from the Supreme Person, the absolute person. Absolute person means Anadi, Adi, Govind. He is the original person, but he has no original. Therefore absolute. He is not to be understood being caused by somebody else. That is God. So here, in this chapter, therefore, it is said, Sri Bhagavan Vaj, an absolute person. Bhagavan means the absolute person who does not depend on anyone else.
Very revealing how the disciplic succession works. From Srila Prabhupada directly, unless one is a serious student, they cannot appreciate the process of bhakti yoga. And unless they are receiving the knowledge from a bona fide source, from Srila Prabhupada, then they will be cheated. Prabhupada explained, it's a society of the, not in this particular speech, but it is a society of cheaters and the cheated. So we have to be mindful of this, and please understand that that is the goal of the Prabhupada Disciples Association Hare Krishna Society, to give the information unchanged and not cheat anybody for anything or anyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We're going to move forward with the next section of the program, which is the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava by Srila Prabhupada himself. All these people that I see, Yashodananda, these days, they give the class, they all get up and start chanting this, and then they got their hair and their beard and their mustache, and they're ready to preach. And are you really sincere, my friend? Are you really a student of Prabhupada? And if I can tolerate a minute, I'll listen, and then I just, goodbye. So let's go on with the with the program. And all glories to all of you who are attending. Haribo.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jananandana. Yashodanandana Braja Jananandana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Bhagavan Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridham ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. From Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, after offering respectful obeisances. 1, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana. 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being. 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita. It should be noted that this reading and discussion has been conducted on the basis of the original 1974-1975 non-adulterated version of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and all synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses from the Adi Lila, chapter 1, text 18-22, which explains the meaning and the benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityānanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Chaitanya and Nityānanda. Glory to Advaita Chandra. And glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. Iti na Thakur Gaudiya ki karye chenayatmasat. Iti niracharana vandan tere morenat. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Grantera Rambikari Mangala Charana Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smaharana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benediction. Tinirasmaraneoi vigna vinashana, anayaseoi nijavanchita purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Semangala charanoi trivida prakar vastu nirdesha shiravada namaskara. The invocation involves three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. We will proceed with our selected verse to today's reading. Today we will be reading from Adi Lila, chapter 5, text 185. Suvalita hasta pada kamalanayan, pattavastra shiri pattavastra paridan. Suvalita, well-formed, hasta, hands, pada, legs, kamala nayana, eyes like lotus flowers, pattavastra, silk cloth, shire, on the head, pattavastra, silk garments, paridhana, wearing. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. He had beautifully formed hands, arms, and legs, and eyes like lotus flowers. He wore a silk cloth with a silk turban on his head. Text 186. Suvarna kundala karne svarnang gadavala, payete nupora baje kante pushpamala. Suvarna kundala, gold earrings, karne, on the ears, svarna angada, golden armlets, vala, and bangles, payete, on the feet, nupura, ankle bells, baje, tinkle, kante, on the neck, pushtamala, flower garland. Translation. He wore golden earrings on his ears and golden armlets and bangles. He wore tinkling anklets on his feet and a garland of flowers around his neck. Text 187. Chandana lipita angati laksutama, matta gajajini madamantara payana. Chandana, with sandalwood pulp, lipita, smeared, anga, body, tilaka sutama, nicely decorated with tilaka, mattagaja, a mad elephant, genie, surpassing, madamantara, maddened by drinking, payana, movement. Translation. His body was anointed with sandalwood pulp, and he was nicely decorated with tilak. His movements surpassed those of a maddened elephant. Text 188. Kuti chandra jini mukha ujvalavaran, dadim babija samadanta tambula charavan. Kuti chandra, millions upon millions of moons. Jini, surpassing. Mukha, face. Ujvalavarana, bright and brilliant. Dadim babija, pomegranate seeds. Sama, like. Danta, teeth. Tambula charavana, chewing betel nut. Translation. His face was more beautiful than millions upon millions of moons, and his teeth were like pomegranate seeds because of his chewing betel. Text 189. Preme matanga dahine vamedole, Krishna Krishna balia gambira bola bale. Preme, in ecstasy, matta, absorb, anga, the whole body, dahine, to the right side, vame, to the left side, dole, moves, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, balia, saying, gambhira, deep, Bhola, words. Bale was uttering. Translation, his body moved to and fro, right and left, for he was absorbed in ecstasy. He chanted, Krishna, Krishna, in a deep voice. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Gurave Namaham Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Gurave Namah Bhagavad Vandana Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshatah Adadana Danter Idam Yati Punah Punah Srimadrupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Shatakaromi Swam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We see in these descriptions of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita very accurate, detailed description of the amazing beauty of Lord Nityānanda. As we see from the description of Krishnadas Goswami Kaviraj, that Lord Nityānanda is the prime associate of Lord Chaitanya. That's why we don't worship Lord Chaitanya just by himself. We worship Gaur Nitai, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityānanda. In Bengal, among some Sahajiyas, there's a common misconception that Gaur Nitai means Radha Krishna. Not quite. Lord Chaitanya is Lord Krishna himself, but Lord Nityānanda is incarnation of Lord Balarama. And we see in this description of Chaitanya Charitamrita the complete bodily description of Lord Nityānanda. Now, it's important to note in the first 14 verses of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj is quoting from the booklet compiled by Swarup Damodar Goswami called Kadacha. The first 14 verses of the Adilila chapter 1, he's describing the position of the Panchatattva. Excuse me. Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityānanda, Lord Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, like that. And there's systematic description given in the next few chapters. We're only on chapter 5. But as we have progressed to the description, we see the scientific explanation of Krishnadas Kaviraj. What is the exalted position of these personalities? This is very important to understand because Srila Prabhupada wrote many letters that it was his desire and his hope that the detailed study of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita amongst his disciples, those who would be able to pass the actual test, would be given a title of Sarvabhauma or Bhakti Vedanta type title, And this is very important because Prabhupada wanted to structure the society in such a way that all the second initiated devotees or brahmanas and brahmanis would study Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Devotion, Ishopanishad, and then also Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, and different degrees would be awarded. Unfortunately, that was never implemented during his manifested presence, but that was the desire of Srila Prabhupada, to structure an actual study course where devotees would go very deep into the study of these literatures to properly understand the philosophy. Early in 1970, as many, many more devotees were coming to the movement, Prabhupada expressed in various letters to some leaders in the movement, says, now that we've got so many devotees, it's important to train them. Just like when you have the milk, sometimes you have to boil the milk to bring out the cream. And Prabhupada complained, he says, what good are so many devotees if none of them are knowledgeable? When we carefully the prospectus of the original League of Devotees that Prabhupada started in Jhansi in Uttar Pradesh, India in the 1950s, that was the original intent of Prabhupada, to train a class of preachers who would systematically study various books like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or Nectar of Devotion, and learn the science of bhakti according to the bona fide parampara. Now, there are many persons who claim to be following Gaudiya Vaishnavism, or in our case, many people who claim to be following Srila Prabhupada, but do they really study his books properly? Do they really understand the meaning and the importance of these transcendental books? As part of this program, we've often related a story that occurred in Australia, where one devotee told Srila Prabhupada that one lawyer, one barrister, as they call it in Australia, had received a set of Srila Prabhupada's books, and he was keeping them with great appreciation on his shelf. And the devotee said, well, he didn't have the time to read them, but he said that he liked the books. He greatly appreciated the books. And Prabhupada said, yes, if you want to appreciate, that is very nice. And as part of these conversations, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, because these books are representative of God. Now, this is a very important point, because as part of this program, everybody knows we've many times emphasized the importance of hearing from Prabhupada's original first edition books. Now, I've heard every conceivable argument that some people say, oh, no, we're not changing the books, we're just editing. Prabhupada wanted to make sure there's no mistakes in the books. Okay, we've heard that sing song before. But when we go deeper into this book change issue, we detect a very diseased mentality of finding fault with the Acharya, of trying to correct the Acharya. Now, this is very important because Prabhupada did mention there is a principle, a basic fundamental principle called Arsha Prayoga, which that even if there is a small mistakes from the Acharya, it should still not be changed. Now, this is a very, very important point, because when it comes to changing the books, then once you open the floodgates, where does it stop? Where does it stop? Then it becomes a political issue, as we know from what Vishwakarma Prabhu described in his visit to a local ISKCON temple in Ontario, Canada. Very few people understand the importance of the issue, because it goes to the fundamental point: who is the author? Who is Prabhupada? Who is this person? What are these books that he wrote? Why did he write these books? Now, many people will say, yeah, Prabhupada was a pure devotee. Prabhupada was a Shakti Vaishavatar. Prabhupada was an empowered personality. Prabhupada was this, Prabhupada was that. That's good. That's a good start. But what does it mean? What is a pure devotee? In the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a very nice purport where Prabhupada describes and explains the importance of hearing the voice of a pure devotee. And Prabhupada explains that this is so important because the voice of a pure devotee is in touch with the saffron mercy particles that are strewn over the lotus feet of the Lord. Now, let's think about that for a moment. This is a very exalted, special, unique position of a devotee who's on that level. During Prabhupada's manifested presence, many times we had the opportunity to interact with some of Prabhupada's godbrothers. And one thing we noticed, they never use the honorific title Prabhupada. They used to call him Swami Maharaj, which is a respectful title in itself. But in Mayapur in 1972, when we assembled for the first Mayapur festival, Prabhupada was living in a little bamboo hut on the left side of the gate when you come in. It was not luxurious accommodation, very austere. And there was a little room for Srila Prabhupada with a desk. Oh, the Rupa Goswami found the exact quote. Let's go to it right now. Did you find a reference, Rupa Goswami, exactly where in the 4th canto? Srila Prabhupada, although when a pure devotee speaks, the articulation of his voice may resemble the sound of this material sky. The voice is spiritually very powerful because it touches the particles of saffron dust on the lotus feet of the Lord. As soon as a sleeping living entity hears the powerful voice emanating from the mouth of a pure devotee, he immediately remembers his eternal relationship with the Lord, although up until that moment he had forgotten everything. From Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20, Text 25. Now, this is very, very special. This is a nice summary description of our relationship as students, as followers and disciples of Srila Prabhupada, following the teachings and the discipline given by Srila Prabhupada. Everybody has heard from Chaitanya Charitamrita how the living entity, Nityānanda Oi Krishna Nityadas, the living entity is eternally a servant of Krishna. Nitya Siddhya Krishna Premi Sadhya Kabunoi, that the love of Krishna is not revived by artificial means. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karayodoi. It is revived, Shravan, by hearing and the other processes of devotional service. And this is how to revive it, to submissively hear from the mouth of the pure devotee. Now, one should not be impudent, think that he can change the words of the pure devotee under the plea of grammatical correctness. That is not acceptable. We'll leave it at that for now. Thank you very much. Back to you in the studio, Vishwakarma. Hare.
Yeah, excellent explanation of further understanding of parampara, which is the theme of the discussion, that you, if you're a serious student of Krishna consciousness, which we are, we want to make sure we're getting the information that we're learning from the proper source, not concocted. And the bona fide spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, demonstrated, this is very important, we've been studying the diaries here, Dasa Avatar. We've been, over the last few years, and we read in detail, and we'll get back to it in the near future. But when you read about Prabhupada's actual words and his experiences in New York back in 65, 66, including his arrival, because remember, the diaries included his trip across the ocean The information is there. It's not concocted. It's factual. And then specifically after his arrival in New York on September 19th, 1965, that's when he officially landed in the city, and his trip to Butler and the whole experience that he had staying there and then coming back, and then his staying with Dr. Mishra and renting a room that was broken into, by the way, had no bathroom, had no cooking facilities. What does that tell you as devotees? That tells you that he exemplified the sannyas order according to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's teachings and Lord Chaitanya's teachings. He exemplified it. It wasn't that he just talked sweet words like these motivational speakers these days. Oh yeah, you just got to get up and get going. That's what they're telling people. Be positive, stay positive, send love, and you'll be a success. They don't mention Prabhupada. They don't mention Krishna consciousness. They just make things up. They concoct their philosophy, their mental speculation in some kind of motivated speech to get disciples. That goes on. But the pure devotee, spiritual master, he demonstrated total surrender. Total surrender. And yet people criticize. Why are you following Srila Prabhupada? Why don't you follow these Vapu impersonators who are falling down constantly, who are defrauding people, molesting women and children? Why do you follow them? Well, because we're not stupid. We're serious. We are serious about getting out of this material world because it's a challenge. It really is. To be able to become so advanced that you can transcend the bodily concept of life. Is it easy? It isn't. It's very difficult. I was listening to Nityānanda Prabhu today to a lecture this morning, and Prabhupada was talking about hankering and lamenting in detail, how the living entity gets trapped in this cycle of lamentation and hankering, which is all revolves around the subtle body, the mind, intelligence, and the ego of the living entity. I wish I would get a new car. I want a new apartment. I need a new husband or a new boyfriend. I want some more money. I need property. I need plane tickets. I want to go in the sun. I want to travel. That's what you hear constantly from people. I hear it all the time from my friends. Oh, I want to do this and that. And I told them, you're hankering for this. Do you think that when you get there, you'll be happy? A Dasa Avatar, you get a company, you get it going, you got some money, you got a bank balance, and you think, okay, I made it. Are you any happier? No. What is a bank balance? I used to teach my son that. A bank balance, all it is numbers on a spreadsheet or on a financial statement where they go income, expenses, profit or loss. That's the income and expense statement. And then you go assets and liabilities. You put the assets up, you put the liabilities up, and you get your net worth. And what does it mean? Well, look, I have $5 million in net worth. Can you eat that? Do you know how to cook? No. These people are living a huge illusion, and anybody that buys into it doesn't understand what is the reality of material existence. It's temporary, and Prabhupada further states emphatically, know it for certain, there is no happiness here. None. Zero. Now people say, well, I'm happy. Well, today you're happy, tomorrow you're sad. What happens if you lose all your money? Well, you get depressed when you lose your money. I can't stand losing. I've lost lots of money. I'm not depressed about it anymore. It's just the way it is. Of course, I'm older and I've been through it. And from lamentation, secondly, what is the cure, Rochisha Devi Dasi, for lamentation? There is none. There is no cure for lamentation. The only cure is stop lamenting. That's it. You keep lamenting, the only result from lamentation is you get more lamentation. This is mundane life. And Prabhupada exemplified this transcendental position. Was he lamenting when they stole his typewriter? Was he? How about when they stole his scripts for the Bhagavad Gita were stolen from him? I think a few times, Yashodanandana. So, you know how hard it is to write? Some of you write? What happens when you write something and all of a sudden you lose it? Do you go, oh, great, fantastic. You just spent 30 hours writing something and all of a sudden you push the wrong button, it's boom, goodbye. You're going, I can't get that back. And then you have to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to do it again. Because what are you supposed to do? You can't give up. You got to keep going. So Prabhupada never gave up. Okay, everybody, you understand what we're saying? That Prabhupada exemplified the principle of pure sannyasi devotee of his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami, and he never gave up. He never gave up the mission, no matter how difficult his circumstances were. But you think, oh, he's just an ordinary person with human qualities. No. It was just so. You know what it's called, Bhakti Nambra? Minimization. Not glorification of Srila Prabhupada. Minimization. I'm going to give another example and then we're going to go to the class. I'm sorry. I was watching one of my godbrothers, Radhanath. Oh yeah. Now, I have a right to speak about him. I've associated with him. I've been in New Vrindavan on multiple occasions, when the guns were there, when the people came in the mountain, we're going to kill everybody. I was there. I was there on the plane with Nityānanda when he made all these outrageous comments. I was a recipient of his letters. This guy was a fraud. And this other fellow is the same thing. He gets on the microphone and he starts talking about his trip to Ayodhya back in 1971. Does he mention Prabhupada once? No. Why? Because he doesn't want Prabhupada to be recognized as his spiritual master. He's embarrassed. He's manipulative. And when it's conspicuous by his absence of mentioning Prabhupada's name once in his speech. And a lot of these people are doing that. You have to judge people by how they speak. You do. You have to see and analyze how. I listen carefully. People say, well, you don't. I do listen carefully to what people say. And when I listen to people like this within that movement, that former movement that we were members of, they conveniently leave Prabhupada's name out of the whole story. And they're bogus people. Actually, a lot of people say they're demons. demons. That's a serious statement. A lot of people are like that. I have one godbrother in Alachua. He's active. He's promoting different things to expose their demoniac work, let's say. He's even worked with others to promote books. And he calls them Ravanas. He's been a devotee for 50 years. He calls them Ravanas. I used to be reluctant. I thought, geez, I can't say that. That's really harsh. Nowadays, he's right. We're not naive. We were naive, Mother. Very naive people. And we just accepted blindly this GBC garbage. This sannyasi, fake pink robe culture. Yeah, we accepted it, like Gopal marching around. He couldn't keep his eyes open. Even when he was giving a class, he'd fall asleep. And I used to think, how the hell can this guy be in the position of being a GBC guru and he can't even keep his eyes open in a meeting? He'd be so... Because he was a fake. And this is going on in the name of the Sampradaya of Srila Prabhupada and his role in following completely the instructions of his spiritual master. And it's demonstrated when we read the diaries. You can read it, you can find out. And contrary, just as the last point, to this fellow Kavi Chandra in Japan. By the way, he looks like he went to 100 years old in the last 3 years. He's like really gone down a drain. He looks terrible. Although it's just a material body, okay, but he still looks terrible. He goes like this to his disciples. He says, I recommend to my disciples that they read the Lilamrita. They have to learn about Prabhupada and how great he was. It is totally misleading because he's misled. That's why. And the cheaters and the cheated will march on, and there's very little we can do about it, but we can carry on with our mission. And we're going to go to this next section of our program. Is it, are you going to read From Time and Circumstance next, Yashoda? Okay, and then we'll have the lecture from Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. Haribo.
Well, thank you very much. We're continuing with our reading of an article called Time, Place, and Circumstances, which describe the unique and special position of Srila Prabhupada. Currently, we are on page number 8, item number 5. Okay, we are discussing certain unique, unprecedented activities of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada had deputies chant on the disciples' beads and doing the fire sacrifice or the initiation ceremony without Srila Prabhupada personally chanting on the beads. And he did not chant personally on every disciple's beads. Regarding the initiations, upon your recommendations, I have accepted the following as my disciples. And their names are, he gives the names, the sacred threads and mantra sheets are enclosed. Now hold the fire sacrifice and the brahmanas may hear the Gayatri mantra through the right ear from my recording tape. You're authorized to chant on the beads. This was a letter to Hamsadutta on November 23, 1974. Then Prabhupada goes on with another separate letter. This was a letter to Madhvisa on December 7th, 1975. You may chant on the beads of the first initiates, and they must chant at least 16 rounds daily. That will keep them strong. Point number 6. Srila Prabhupada initiated mlechas and yavanas, a rarity which had only been done a few times by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura. He did it on a large scale. And here we have A quote from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4, text number 18. Kirata huna andra pulkasha pulinda pulkasha abhira shumba yavana, members of the Kasha race and even others who are addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord due to his being the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Then Srila Prabhupada explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, text 54, the principle that only Indians and Hindus should be brought into the Vaishnava cult is a mistaken idea. There should be propaganda to bring everyone to the Vaishnava cult. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant for that purpose. There is no bar in propagating the Krishna consciousness movement, even among people who are born in Chandala, Mlecha, or Yavana families. Even in India, this point has been enunciated by Srila Sanatana Goswami in his books Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is Smriti and is the authorized guide for Vaishnavas. Point number 7, Srila Prabhupada gave Brahminical initiation to unmarried women on a large scale. Indian man. Srila Prabhupada, since there is no distinction between men and women, these are both designations. Is it possible for a woman to become a Brahmana? Brahmananda, is it possible for a woman to become a Brahmana? Srila Prabhupada is. Woman is a Brahmana's wife. Then she's automatically a Brahmana. Indian man. Suppose she doesn't want to get married for the rest of her life, just wants to serve the Lord. Srila Prabhupada. So in his spiritual position, everyone is a Brahmana. Brahmananda. But you gave Brahminical initiation to unmarried women. Srila Prabhupada. Yes. But on the spiritual platform, she's a Brahmana. On the spiritual platform, there is no such distinction. This is a conversation with Srila Prabhupada on November 2nd, 1975 in Nairobi, India. However, Srila Prabhupada explains that this is authorized by Srila Sanatana Goswami in his Hari Bhakti Vilas. The following injunction is given in the Hari Bhakti Vilas 1:194. Tantrikeshu chamantreshu dikshayam yoshitamapi Shudradhinam cha saddhiyam sadvinam adhikarosti. Shudras and women who are chaste and sincerely interested in understanding the absolute truth are qualified to be initiated with the Pancharatrika mantras. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Mam hi partavya pashritya yepi syupapayonayaham Shriyo Vaishyas tata Shudraste piyanti param gatim. Osanaprita, those who take shelter of me, though they be of lower births, women, Vaishyas, merchant, as well as Shudras, workers, can approach the supreme destination. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 24, text 331. Back to you in the studio, Vishwakarma Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Fabulous, simply fabulous information about the transcendental position of the spirit soul and the qualifications for making advancement not based on bodily circumstance. It has nothing to do with it. Same with sannyas, by the way. People wear the saffron clothes, but they're not renounced. Renunciation means how you act, how you execute your service to your spiritual master, and nothing to do with ashram. You can be renounced in the Grihastha ashram. Many of our members are. You can be fallen in the sannyas ashram if you're a fake posing guru. It's nothing to do with bodily designation or ashram. It is your behavior, how you act. And we should all pray that we can become, by action, controllers of the senses. Because Goswami means the controller of the senses. It doesn't mean your dress. Oh, I got a saffron dress on. Look at me. And in this way, we won't mislead innocent people because people bow down to the sannyas order. You know that, Prabhu, Dasa Avatar. They do it as a matter of respect. And instead of being blessed by these people, they're misled. The society of the cheaters and the cheated. And this is going on in the name of the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. It is a unfortunate, very, in some sense, disappointing experience. It is. Because Prabhupada set such a high example of how to act by personally demonstrating it. And yet his disciples, many of them, never read the books. And that's been quoted many times in our programs, how he knew that. 85% of my leaders do not read the books. And most of them, as we know, a lot of them that we met, never chanted their rounds. Hypocrites. The iron age of quarrel and hypocrisy. And that's going on, and we're going on with our mission. Rupa Goswami, should we go? Yes. Oh. Rochisha Dasi, go ahead, ask a question, please. Yeah, go ahead.
It is a comment about what we read on Chaitanya Charitamrita today, and accept my obeisances to all the devotees, and please excuse my French accent. It is written in the Krishna book, 2nd chapter. The chapter name is Prayers by the Demigods for Lord Krishna in the Womb. And it is said, in the Upanishad, it is stated, Nayamatma Bala Inena Labhya. The purport is that one cannot attain the supreme or any form of self-realization without being sufficiently favored by Balaram. Bala does not mean physical strength. No one can attain spiritual perfection by physical strength. One must have the spiritual strength which is infused by Balaram or Sankarshan. Ananta or Shesha is the power which abstain all the planets in their different positions. Materially, this sustaining power is known as the law of gravitation, but actually it is the display of the potency of Sankarshan. Balaram or Sankarshan is the spiritual power or the original spiritual master. Mm-hmm. Therefore, Lord Nityānanda Prabhu, who is also the incarnation of Balaram, is the original spiritual master. And the spiritual master is the representative of Balaram, the supreme personality of Godhead, who supplies spiritual strength. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is confirmed that the spiritual master is the manifestation of the mercy of Krishna. His divine grace, Srila Prabhupada.
Yes. And it's very important that people that are serious about spiritual life, like we are, and the new people we want to attract, are serious. We have to qualify people always to see that they really want to make advancement and go to the proper sources like we're reading tonight and discussing. And in this way, the mystery of material life will be solved because most people are lost. They're completely lost. And I think all of you, all of us are seeing it through the eyes, our life through the eyes of Shastra. And this is the great blessing that has been bestowed upon all of us, that we do not wake up in every morning fear what is going to happen to us tomorrow. because people are always fearing, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, fearing. They're always in fear of the future, which is unpredictable. And Prabhupada spoke to that when he talked about hankering on lamentation today in his lecture, that people do not know what will happen to them. Anything could happen. He used the example of the forest fire. He said the forest fire will come without expectation, like it did in Los Angeles, and devours everything. And you can't stop it. It burned everything down. So this material life could be burnt to the ground by the circumstances that we may come into to paste on our karma. We don't know. That's our destiny. But while we have the opportunity, everyone, to take shelter of service, not just talk. For example, we've got 2,000 Bhagavatams we're going to distribute to the world, and we need your help. In any way you can call us and contact us about that, it'll be a blessing for you, not for anyone else, for you, because you are directly assisting Prabhupada in delivering the original message of Lord Chaitanya through his books. And you need books. People say, well, I don't read books anymore. Well, I know you don't. I don't study. Well, how are you going to learn if you don't study? Go to a PhD program, Bhakti and Amber, and tell them, oh, I'm not going to read the books of the course. You're not going to get a PhD. That's the way it is. You don't study, you get nothing. You're zero. You won't pass the exam of life, and you'll take birth again in this material world in one of 8,400,000 different species. And that is the truth. We're going to move forward with the next section of our program. Rupa Goswami, please put up this next short lecture by Srila Prabhupada, and everyone listen carefully and connect the dots on how this program flows with the same spirit and understanding from start to end. Go ahead, Rupa Goswami, please. The Prabhupada lecture. Thank you. Perfect.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam.
Now, Krishna took the position of Guru and he began to instruct. Tamuvacha Rishikesh. Rishikesha, Krishna's another name is Rishikesha. Rishikesha means Rishika Isha. Rishik means the senses and Isha the master. Therefore, Krishna is the master of our senses. Everyone's senses. That will be explained in the 13th chapter. The Khetragancha Vimana Vidhi Sarva Khetresu Bharat. In this body, there are two living entities. One is myself, the individual soul, Atma, and the other is Krishna, Paramatma. Ishara Sarvabhutanam Riddhi Sojunatisthat. So actually, the proprietor is Paramatma. I am given the chance to use it. So my senses, so-called my senses, that is not my senses. I have not created my hand. The hand is created by God, by Krishna, through the agency of this material nature. And I have given the hand to use it for my purpose, for my eating, for my collecting. But actually it is not my hand. Otherwise, when this hand becomes paralyzed, I am claiming my hand, I cannot use it. Because the power of the hand is withdrawn by the proprietor. Just like in a house, rented house, you are living If the proprietor of the house, landlord, eject you, you cannot live there. You cannot use it. Similarly, we can use this body as long as the real proprietor of the body, Rishikesha, allows me to stay here. Therefore, Krishna's name is Rishikesh. And this Krishna consciousness movement means that we have accepted the senses from Krishna. It should be used for Krishna. Instead of using it for Krishna, we are using it for our sense gratification. This is our miserable condition of life. It's like you are living in a place for which you have to pay rent, but if you don't pay rent, you think that it is your property, then there is trouble. Similarly, Rishikesha means the real proprietor is Krishna. I have been given this property. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Ishara sarvabhutana riddese arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani jantra rudhani maya. Jantra, it is a machine. This machine has been given by Krishna to me. Because I desire that if I get a machine like a human body, then I can enjoy like this. So Krishna fulfills your desire. All right. And if I think, if I get a machine in which I can directly suck blood of other animals, all right, Krishna says, he takes the machine of a tiger's body and use it. So this is going on. Therefore his name is Rishikesh. And when we understand properly that I am not the proprietor of this body, Krishna is the proprietor of the body, I wanted a certain type of body to use it for my sense gratification. He has given it and I am not happy. Therefore, I shall learn how to use this machine for the purpose. This is called bhakti. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. When these senses, because Krishna is the proprietor of the senses, he is the proprietor of this body. So when this body will be utilized for Krishna's service, that is our perfection of life.
Very interesting.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Vanchakalpa prayers, any other part of the program?
Yes.
Any other part of the program?
We'll carry on and then we'll keep going. Go ahead, Yashoda, please.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namah. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like these are trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks, everybody, for participating in this lively reading and discussion. Thanks, Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Rupa Goswami Prabhu in Mumbai, India. Rochita Mataji dans la belle province de Québec, dans les Laurentides. And Krishna Kata in San Diego, California. Das Avatar Prabhu in Australia. Bhakta Roy in Mississippi. Bhaktin Ander in Florida, soon to be in Alaska. Michael Dillon in Yuba City, California. Shyamasundar Prabhu, the Samosa King in the East Coast of Australia. Forest Temple with the beautiful Prabhupada's hat in Baja, California. Triloka Vijay in Alachua, Florida. And the one and unique Nilesh Prabhu, Nilesh Shyama Prabhu in Florida. And Bhakta Ram Singh in Oroville, California. Bhakta Vinay Prabhu in South India. Thanks everybody for participating. We will continue with the rest of the program. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Nectar of Devotion, Chapter 8, Offenses to be Avoided. The offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. First, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Second, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Sometimes the atheistic class of men take it that any demigod is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. But one who is a devotee knows that no demigod, however great he may be, is independently as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, if someone thinks that he can chant Kali, Kali or Durga, Durga, and it is the same as Hare Krishna, that is the greatest offense. Third, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Fourth, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. Fifth, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. Sixth, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. Seventh, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. Because by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from all kinds of sinful reactions. It should not be taken that one may continue to act sinfully and after that chant Hare Krishna to neutralize his sins. Such a dangerous mentality is very offensive and should be avoided. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities. Karma Kanda. 9th, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Anyone can take part in chanting the holy name of the Lord, but in the beginning one should not be instructed about the transcendental potency of the Lord. Those who are too sinful cannot appreciate the transcendental glories of the Lord, and therefore it is better not to instruct them in this matter. 10th, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names, and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Sri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna
Is it
Krishna
coming from
Hare
inside or
Hare
outside?
Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.